Hello, viewers. My name is Martin Caballero. I'm a senior reporter with BevNet, and I am very pleased to be joining you from the 2017 KombuchaKon in Long Beach, California. And here with me, I have Jared and Deanne Gustafson, the co-founders of Kombucha On Tap. How's it going, guys?
It's going great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out here in Southern California.
Yeah, Southern California. That's where you guys are based. I know it's not too far of a drive up north to Long Beach from San Diego.
Yep, most definitely. We're based in Oceanside, California, so anyone can come on down and visit us.
Great area to be for kombucha, clearly. So I know you guys started the company 3 years ago. Can you maybe sort of take me through from the beginning, your past experience to where you guys are now and sort of the current state of the company?
Yeah, most definitely. We actually started our company with zero experience in kegs or distribution. Deanne and I were both in television before this, so we had good on-camera experience, and behind the camera experience, nothing on kegs. But it was kind of like, how hard can this be? This person has the product, this person needs the product, we'll figure out a way to get them the product.
And so just to elaborate on how we started, we saw it on a business trip in Oregon. Jared didn't even know what kombucha was at the time, 2013. He kept calling it Kombucha, and I kept correcting him and saying it's kombucha. And it was on tap everywhere, even at gas stations. But I didn't even know it could be on tap. That didn't register that was something that was possible because I had never seen that in Southern California.
Sure.
So we started our company and started it like most companies do in a garage, and asked one brand that was a local brand called Anne's Kombucha, who's no longer in business, and we said, hey, can we distribute you? And she said, okay. So she took a chance on us, and then from there, all the other major brands have come on board with us.
Great. How many accounts do you guys handle right now?
Right now we have 218 accounts. 5 more accounts coming on in the next week and a half, so it's growing significantly. We've actually seen 200% growth year over year.
And in terms of your approach to going into these accounts, sort of how do you sort of explain to them, the offering? How do you sort of convince them that this is something that they need to take on board?
The first year was a big challenge because kombucha was still so new to the industry. Now that it's becoming much more common for the general consumer, it's much easier for us to just go in there and say, hey, we've got this great beverage kombucha, and it really sells itself now because so many people are hearing at it. The industry is growing so fast that consumer knowledge is really actually helping us on the sales side of things. So
do you guys do a lot of consumer education on your side, or are you finding that people are pretty familiar with it and it's just a matter of putting it in front of them, a good quality product?
We're still doing a lot of consumer education, but the percentage of that is going down now that consumer awareness, just being exposed to it on a general basis, is becoming greater.
In terms of innovations and sort of, there's obviously the kegs, put them on tap, but what else sort of besides just having that can sort of enhance the customer experience, or what kind of things have you found have been effective?
We've seen a huge rise in the self-serve kind of kegerator setup where people can go into a grocery store now and there's 8 different taps of flavors and they can fill whatever they want and mix and match flavors, which is really fun. And then another innovation thing is the kombucha cocktail side of things, which is just a healthier way to mix a craft cocktail. And it tastes really, really good with vodka, tequila, gin, even champagne, beer.
And so it sounds like bars are a pretty good part of your business. How does it sort of spread out? Is it, on-premise food? Is it office? And where's some of the growth coming from?
So far, bars are still slow to adapt to it. I think we're getting there more and more, but maybe Southern California being such a big craft beer area, it's slower than I thought it would be, but I see it coming. Really, our number one sales are from, right now in growth, our grocery stores, and then businesses putting it in their break rooms. It's huge growth right now, as well as people getting it in their homes. And then a lot of farm-to-table restaurants, coffee shops, juice bars. So what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced in terms of growing your business and increasing that awareness?
A lot of it is the education of the consumer on how a draft system works. Starting out not knowing anything about draft systems, I had a very quick learning curve to be able to get that up to speed just because I was getting inundated by our clients on how they actually work. From the volume side of things, it's much more efficient for them, a lot less labor for them to just pull a tap handle, fill a glass, or, for the self-serve units, it's almost zero labor on the employee side of things. So a lot of it is just a matter of the consumer awareness of how a draft system works.
And what kind of preferences are you seeing within the market in terms of what kind of kombuchas are people going for? Is there any sort of pattern to that, or Anything that you've noticed there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say seasonality takes a huge difference. So, like, the tropical flavors get really popular in the summertime, and then cranberry and more of the berry flavors in the wintertime, or the chai spices. A lot of places, the more sweeter the kombucha, whereas I'll be honest, like, we don't usually like the really sweet kombuchas because I don't want all that extra sugar, but it's a really good gateway kombucha. So for the people that are brand new, give them a sweeter one, get them in the door with it, and then they'll kind of work their way up to the non-sweeter ones.
And I wonder too, as you get into different places, are you finding that is kombucha replacing something? Is it an addition, or is something maybe coming out that you guys are taking its place? How does that work?
So a lot of times it's kind of 50-50. A lot of places, draft systems are very new to them, so they're adding it for the first time, not having anything else there. For some of our clients, they either had a really slow-moving beer, and because kombucha goes on the same draft systems for the most part, and it uses the same gas as a beer, so it's a very easy plug-and-play system for them to just change it out and give it a try. With the non-alcoholic side of things, I always say, you take a beer off tap, the beer revenue for a retailer, you're getting that one revenue source, the person that likes that beer. When you put a kombucha on tap, you have three revenue sources. You have the craft cocktail, because you can use it as a mixed drink. You have the non-drinker, and then in the bar side of things, you have the designated driver as well. So it's very advantageous for a retailer when you get three revenue sources off of one tap instead of one.
And one thing that we heard recently, earlier today, was a little bit of talk about kombucha beer. That seems to be a category that's growing a little bit. Is that something that you guys are involved with as well, and sort of the alcoholic kombuchas?
We're not right now. We don't have our alcoholic licensing. It's something we are open to thinking about, because I do think that's a huge, huge growing market.
But at the same time, we see such a huge opportunity in the non-alcoholic side of things that's kind of driving our focus right now, just because there's far more non-alcoholic drinkers than there are alcoholic drinkers. Not to just isolate them, but just for our business sake right now on focus, non-alcoholic margin is much better.
Sure. So just looking ahead, it seems like you guys are trying to sort of increase your distribution, increase your presence with non-alcoholic. What can you sort of forecast in the future in terms of this just kombucha on draft in general? What do you see for the category going forward?
The category going forward, I mean, bars and kombucha cocktails is certainly a big driving force that I think will only increase. We're starting to get a lot more momentum on that as people find the awareness of the beverage, and they find, a lot more of the aging as the population continues to age. Some of those beer drinkers are starting to switch and think of healthier choices, or they still want that social atmosphere, but they don't want the alcoholic side of things. So it gives them that opportunity. Plus, with kombucha being such a great mixer, you still cater to both sides. You have a tap that caters to all the people where you can still add the alcohol to it, or you have a few cocktails with kombucha and then you just have a straight kombucha at the end. That's one of the biggest trends, the fact of the kombucha side of things in the retail bar space.
I also think, kind of like how craft beer, you can go to a brewery and there's different brands, and that's totally cool. I think the same thing's going to happen with kombucha, where you can go somewhere and there'll be 5 different brands of kombucha on, so not just one kombucha option. And we're all about that. In San Diego, there are multiple brands, even ones we don't distribute, and we just think, you know what, the more the merrier. Like, why shouldn't a place have multiple brands?
For sure. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for talking with us today. Really been great catching up with you, and let's go drink some kombucha, I think.
Let's go do it.
The bar.